Greetings, Kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome back to our World of Darkness and another episode of Metaplot Monday, where today we're going to do another Wiki Deep Dive. Excited about this. It's the second one that we've done, and this is a suggestion by Steve Winkleburg. He was asking me to cover SchreckNet, which I've never done before. There's no lore sheets for it because in Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition, SchreckNet is a relic of the past. It is it's something that is set in the recent history of the world of darkness, and it has more to do with how things have gotten where they are currently and not with what it was in the past, which was an information network that was started by Clan Nosferatu. And now it seems to be one of the things that caused the Nosferatu to become ostracized, where a lot of them actually ended up joining the Anarchs over the Camarilla because of the massive blame that got set on the clan. But also it does seem to be a plot point that's being driven home in a lot of chronicles that are being released online. LA by Night, New York by Night, several others are really touching home on the fact that people might be trying to recreate this relic of Kindred history. And I don't know too much about it other than the fact that it is an information network. Given on that one, when I was in my old LARP group, we had information network as a as a background that you could take at character creation, and there wasn't really a good set of rules that we could use on this. It was a 1 to 5 trait, just like most other backgrounds, and it was just an information network. It wasn't necessarily SchreckNet, but it was something that it tended to be Nosferatu specific. And the way that we used to do it was we would allow the Nosferatu at some point in time to reach into a bucket and pull out random bits of information, and depending on how many points they had on their sheet, told them how many pulls per month they were allowed to have. And this bucket would be filled with all kinds of garbage. Now, it was prop trash. I want to point that out. In our LARP situation, we have a 5-gallon bucket, like a Home Depot bucket, where we would just we would take diapers, clean, and we would mess them up. We would pour things into them and make them all grody and stuff like that, and then we would take like even old character sheets where the players had spent more XP on it and stuff like that. We would take their old character sheets and crumple them up and throw them in there. We would wrap them up in other stuff. We would put characters' phone numbers written down on bubblegum wrappers and stuff like that. Just any kind of information that somebody might be able to get. And that was just the way that we did it in our LARP. It was a lot of fun. It added a lot of flavor in the game. And even though you're picking up a dirty diaper that has like tempera paint and just dirt in it, it's still a little uneasy when you open that up, hoping that you're going to find like a character sheet from somebody in there. We also never cleaned it out, so you could actually reach in there and pull something that was a week old, or you could pull something out that was a year old. It was a lot of fun, but that is how we handled information network in our old LARP game. SchreckNet is so much more detailed than that because the Nosferatu, above all other kindred, are just so intertwined in sharing information from location to location. And it's even believed that the Nosferatu of the Camarilla, the Nosferatu of the Anarchs, the Red Nosferatu, and even the Nosferatu anti-tribu of the Sabbat would all share information. Now, given the Sabbat's new outlook on things, where they are completely just throwing off the shackles of the moniker of their clan and no longer calling themselves by those names, there's a good chance that a lot of the Nosferatu of the Sabbat are completely out of that at the moment. But I'm pretty sure there's going to at least be a few holdouts don't want to give up what kind of power that they had while working together. So, as I was saying, we are going to take a deep dive into the unofficial White Wolf Wiki today to see what the community has to say about the Nosferatu information network known as SchreckNet. Alright, so SchreckNet, first off, it says SchreckNet is a computer network created and maintained by the Nosferatu in the World of Darkness. In V20, SchreckNet has been opened to members of other clans, although the Nosferatu are still its masters. Still, no Nosferatu is opening email by email, making SchreckNet a completely secure network for its members. So, I like the fact that in V20 they opened it up. The fact that it's now just a place where any vampire can go in and get the information, use the information. It's the ability to have it open to other clans makes it a little bit more accessible, I guess. I mean, literally accessible, since other clans can get a hold of it. The history of SchreckNet, we've got SchreckNet 1.0. Originally created by the New York-based Nosferatu Gerard Raffin, also known as Uncle Smelly. As a sort of special network piggybacked on the regular internet, SchreckNet was originally used exclusively for communications amongst Nosferatu, primarily as a means for the Nosferatu to keep their intelligence gathering operations up to date. The Nosferatu used SchreckNet to share secrets and information, as well as discuss plans and goals, and other Nosferatu information networks, such as the TrigenNet, which was later known as Warwick's Web, are now connected to it. Membership was not limited to Camarilla-aligned Nosferatu, but was open to Nosferatu anti-tribute as well. During the Camarilla siege of Sabbat-occupied New York, the Nosferatu grudgingly gave over Camarilla clans limited access to SchreckNet, though the lion's share of its usage by far remains with the Nosferatu. Okay, so when the Camarilla decided to start taking on the Sabbat areas of New York, I'm assuming this is because of the V20 stuff. Camarilla-aligned vampires were allowed limited access to SchreckNet. That's really neat. I like how it says grudgingly accepting to give them information. I do like how it says grudgingly gave them access to SchreckNet. That does make a lot of sense considering the Nosferatu. Now, it does mention Trajan's Net. Just to let everybody know, Trajan is an influential Nosferatu Methuselah, native to the ancient city of Rome. Trajan tried to establish his own realm beneath the ancient city of Rome, but his dreams were shattered by local Ventru. He blames the Malkavian Anton Lefanu. I'm probably butchering that name, but I always do that, right? For his downfall, and the two vampires are bitter rivals. He went on a self-induced torpor until the 12th century. Upon waking, he realized that his plans had failed because he had lacked information on his enemies. Subsequently, he wove an intricate net of spies, contacts, and informants, which he called the Net. He followed the activities of his Malkavian rival to New England and gained powerful allies there as well through the presence of his grandchild, Stanford Warwick. The old Net had been connected to the SchreckNet and is one of the most important sources of information from Clan Nosferatu. That's actually a lot of really cool information that I had no idea on. But again, it's just one of those things that I didn't really spend that much time learning it because I didn't play Nosferatu that much. Now, it also says that SchreckNet was breached by a hacker known as Hurricane in the 1990s. Instead of retaliating, the Nosferatu instead allowed Hurricane to enter their community. During the decade, more tech-savvy Kindred joined in secret, creating a subculture of vampires with more allegiances to each other than sect or clan. This likely had influence on the formation of the Red Question and the creation of the new Kindred-only networks like Solomon's Haven. So I like the fact that this actually gets into the Red Question, because the Red Question was one of those things that always just kind of went over my head. When I played Vampire the Masquerade by Night Studios, which is kind of a live action 20th anniversary edition, the Red Question was covered a lot, but it was always in the higher echelons of those people who were in the game a lot longer than I was. I didn't stick with that group that long, unfortunately, because of the way that the world worked. But while I was playing, I did have a lot of fun, and it got me wondering about this Red Question. So, what is that Red Question, and what does it have to do with SchreckNet? The Red Question is a secret organization apparently affiliated with the Anarch movement. They operate almost exclusively online, so their exact identities are a mystery. The group was named by the Camarilla for the red front of the reoccurring question, "Why do you obey?" found within their text. Okay, so that actually answers a lot of questions for me, such as what the Red Question was, and perhaps we'll go ahead and dig deeper into that in another one of these deep dives, because there's a lot of information on that. I had no idea while I was playing that the Red Question was literally a subculture of anarchs of all different clans that were using the internet as a way of gathering. It's almost like Anonymous for humans. SchreckNet 2.0. With advances in computer technology, SchreckNet was updated in the 2000s to SchreckNet 2.0. Instead of the cobbled early SchreckNet, the new version was an actual computer application suite created by Nosferatu programmers specifically to facilitate Kindred use on the internet. It included both a basic web design kit and a web browser. So vampires had their own Google. The innovation was that web pages created through the design kit allowed for hidden sections and links on each page that would be invisible to mortal perception, but that could be seen easily with auspex, and that were automatically visible to anyone using the secure SchreckNet browser. This allowed young Kindred to explore the web with some confidence that they would not accidentally breach the masquerade. The programmers received significant boons from the Inner Council, and though some of the more conservative members still grumbled at the risks posed by the internet, since then, new contributions by members of the Red Question and the Digital Draculas and the Hacktivist Thaumaturges and others have expanded SchreckNet, allowing for investigation with social networks and the creation of websites only accessible by vampires. So that basically says that, like, you need auspex to see what's on these pages. That is such a leap forward in Kindred thinking. And the fact that some members of the Inner Council of the Camarilla, the inner circle of the Camarilla, were actually interested in helping with this is monumental. The fact that it failed and collapsed the way that it did, at least in the V5 storyline, is really sad, but I can also see where it is such an active storyline and how it helps out with the Second Inquisition model. I love also the name, the Digital Draculas and the Hacktivist Thaumaturges. This is, again, people that we're going to have to look into on the deep dives later. The Nosferatu still maintain the growth of the new database, sharing passwords for restricted areas only among their own, or those with sufficient clan prestige. In a short time, the network had become more than just a database. It had become a social network as well. Some of the younger Nosferatu have even started calling it Filthbook. in Garbage Plus. I like that. The idea that it has become a vampire Facebook kind of thing makes a lot of sense, because although vampires do tend to be rather violent and nasty towards each other, they are still social creatures, and having a digital Elysium makes a lot of sense. Compromise and dismantlement. In 2004, the NSA penetrated SchreckNet as part of the rise of the Second Inquisition, leading to over 10 years of information compromised. The Camarilla ordered it dismantled and as much Kindred communication wiped from the web as possible. Further, the sect has declared that any Kindred communicating online will be declared disloyal and removed from the Camarilla, and possibly even the subject of a blood hunt if the communication is risky enough. That's nuts. And considering the fact that the way that the Camarilla has this whole, like, mom and dad are out of town, I'm in charge now, and Ancilli rulership going on, being removed from the Camarilla might as well just be a blood hunt at that point. Being removed from the Camarilla is literally just a passive blood hunt. But, so in 2004, the NSA got into SchreckNet. That sucks. That right there is what is going on when it comes to the Second Inquisition and the fact that they were able to get into that. Now, a lot of the, like it says, a lot of the Camarilla ordered that it was wiped, but you can't just remove things from the internet. When they're out there, they're out there. They don't go away. That means all of that information is just now not accessible to the Kindred. It's still accessible to the hunters. New stuff might not be going up, but if they've got good enough hackers, then the Second Inquisition is still getting the information. And I'm pretty sure, given the fact that it's government and church working together, they're going to have the hackers who are able to handle that stuff. Now, just for a little bit of fun, I'm going to go ahead and put this up here too. I want to let you see this. SchreckNet had a Jihad the Eternal Struggle card. And it's very cool. I like the fact that it's got the Nosferatu symbol there, and it says loading. You got the little Yoda-eared Nosferatu sitting in front of the computer screen and stuff. That's just very cute. +1 stealth actions, unique. If this Nosferatu's capacity is 6 or more, he or she untaps. Put this card in play. Whenever a referendum succeeds, you may tap this card to look at any Methuselah's hand. So that's neat. In the Eternal Struggle game, you actually use the SchreckNet to spy on other people and what they're capable of doing. I, unfortunately, have never been able to play this card game. I actually do have the 5th edition style set and stuff, but I just haven't had a chance to sit down and learn how to play it. But that is it. That is Vampire the Masquerade's look at the internet. That is SchreckNet. And I really like where it has gone, although there is part of me that mourns that I never got to play in a game where the other clans had access to it. There's always a chance that you can run a game that is set a little bit before the Inquisition got into things and the NSA was able to tap into SchreckNet. Or perhaps you can play in a game where SchreckNet is reinstated, like a lot of the storytellers online are attempting to do. Get SchreckNet back where it should be. So I hope that answers any questions that anybody, including especially Steve Winkleburg, who asked us to handle this, has. I know I have a lot more information about SchreckNet now. I feel more confident in using it in my stories, and I think that it can be a lot of fun to use that. And so, yeah, I hope that everybody enjoys what I got here. I really like these Wiki Deep Dives because although the information is already there, a lot of people just don't have the idea to look it up because the unofficial White Wolf Wiki is still using the old name for White Wolf instead of World of Darkness. And I don't know, it's one of those resources that I find are underused possibly underappreciated. But thank you guys at the White Wolf Wiki for being able to put that up. The community thanks you very much. I am Voivode Maquette. This is Our World of Darkness, and another episode of Metaplot Monday has come and gone, and we have just taken a look into SchreckNet on the unofficial White Wolf Wiki. Good evening.